G'day everybody and welcome back to Rev Solution. Now today I've got the CFMOTO 450MT and I'm going to be riding to a place called Serpentine Dam just outside of Perth, well southeast of Perth in good old Western Australia. This video is going to be basically the start of my long-term review of the CFMOTO 450MT. I've had this bike for 2 weeks today and honestly, I absolutely love it. So what I'm going to do is chuck you on the bike and let's go for a ride. Now, the first thing I need to try and do on this bike is sort out my DOHC CarPlay because it's just too high. All right, let's jump on the bike. Now, I've got the high seat. All right, so the 450MT had it just over, well, just 2 weeks today now. And honestly, I'm so glad that I bought this machine. It is fantastic. The ergonomics of it are just really, really good. When you're sitting up on the bike, you're nice and high. I hope this is getting some good shots. So yeah, you're up nice and high. You've got great visibility up the road ahead. Over cars, you sit right over the top of them, which is phenomenal. Gives you that good sense of like road presence and road dominance. Now, seat wise, I've got the low seat and the high seat. I'm currently on the high seat. Bearing in mind I'm 5'8" with a 28-29 inch inseam. I actually find the high seat a lot more comfortable to use than the standard seat or the low seat. I don't know why, but it just gives you that bit more planted feeling on the bike, whereas the low seat, I mean, it's fantastic. You're sat nice and low, dips down quite a lot. But after a while, I just started to feel that I didn't feel that comfortable on it. Felt like my legs were quite cramped. I mean, they're still bent now, but it's manageable and it feels really good. But yeah, the ergonomics on this bike, they are really good. CFMOTO have really done well with it. Wind mirror visibility, again, I cannot knock CFMOTO for their wind mirror setup. You haven't even got to bring your elbows in. You're not constantly riding thinking, oh, need to bring them in. They work. The only thing I'm going to say is that they are a little bit vibey. So every now and again, if you want to look in your mirror, you've got to pull the clutch in and then you can see behind, release the clutch and off you go. Other than that, there's no dramas with the wind mirrors whatsoever. Now obviously this is a 21-inch front wheel. When I had the Africa Twin, I was not keen on that. It really did make me feel like I was washing out quite heavily on this bike. Again, yeah, ever so slightly on, it's more on like roundabouts that you feel that. But ultimately you just dragged the rear brake, a bit of trail braking, and that kind of goes away. So just watch your rear brake pads if that's what you do. Like me, you will end up going for a lot of rear brake pad. But if it keeps you stable on the bike and allows you to control the machine nicely, there's just so many off-road routes in Australia. I mean, that's Scrap Road North. Again, straight down there, off-road. And that brings me quite nicely onto my next part of this bike, the off-road mode. Now I am going to do a review off-road. This is going to be a fully on-road review, but you got the ABS button here. You press and hold it, off-road mode, there you go, done. You can do it on the fly. So if you are riding and all of a sudden boom, you go off-road, just press it. To get rid of it, press it, job done. Sometimes I think actually traction control, so that's on. Let's see if I can get, okay, yeah, so if you off throttle, turn the off-road mode on, you get rid of the rear wheel ABS and the traction control. If you press it to disengage it, you've then got to release the throttle, re-engage the throttle, and off it goes again. So as long as you disengage the throttle, you can crack on the fly. Again, that is such a great feature that CFMOTO have put into this bike. You can be traveling at speed and still be able to adjust the off-road capabilities of the bike. Oh, we're getting paced down by an HGV now. Although I am doing speed limit, so whatever. The TFT display, it is in your face, it is nice and clear. There's no issues reading any of the information. Again, CFMOTO allow you to go through stuff on the fly. Yeah, they just allow you to do it. A lot of manufacturers will not let you do anything on the fly, and I get that. Yeah, I get that for safety reasons, but ultimately, if there is something you need to be doing, you want to pull over. But equally, if you want to quickly change something on the fly or check something on the fly, why not? Why the hell not, eh? Now, like I was saying, when you do ride this bike, now as I was saying, this bike has obviously got a 21-inch front wheel, so I do tend to trail brake around roundabouts, but when you're actually riding out in twisties like this, through the Serpentine hills, you haven't got to use the rear brake. The bike performs very, very well. It is very accurate. You point the bike in the direction you want it to go, and it goes. I don't ever feel like I'm washing out on a route like this. It is just on roundabouts and going around corners. I did have a little bit of a whoopsie yesterday. I was going into a shopping area, and as I entered the roundabout, I didn't put the rear brake on. I didn't slow it down enough. I was plenty slow enough for like a sports bike or a 17-inch front wheel, and I washed wide, way too wide, and I thought, oh shit, I'm about to crash. But then I was like, hold on a minute, I'm on a CFMOTO, a 450MT. So I just literally bumped the lip curb and back down the lip curb. Job's good. And the suspension handled it nicely, boom boom, kept me out of trouble and kept me on the road. Had that been a road bike, one, obviously wouldn't have messed up, and two, I would have had a bit of a problem probably with the underneath smashing into everything. A lot of cows. So yeah, obviously the issue was the rider, getting used to the bike. But the CFMOTO just made me cruise on as if nothing happened. Nothing to see here, people. Keep on moving. Oh, that is a lot of wind. Hopefully you guys can hear me comfortably. And that brings me on to the next thing about the CF. Basically, the wind prison farm. Prison farm? What the hell is a prison farm? They farm prisoners? Well, it's obviously a prison. Yeah, so basically the wind resistance with this bike, this windscreen is in its top position. I've got no dramas with it at all, literally no dramas. It allows good wind protection on your body, and yep, I'm getting a little bit of wind in my helmet, but ultimately it's not like I'm getting belted by the wind and my head is flowing all over the place, and it's comfy. Literally not a problem at all. There we go, look, just move the bike over. Brilliant. The brakes, that is something I've got to talk about. So obviously it's got one front brake disc, and you pull it, there's someone behind me. I mean, yeah, she stops. You can feel the difference between that and a twin disc at the front. But the rear brake, that rear brake has to be one of the best, if not the best rear brake I've ever had on a motorcycle, and it's from a Chinese motorcycle. I think it's a Nissan rear brake caliper and a J1 front. I'm pretty sure it's a J1 front, and then a Nissan rear brake. But honestly, it is one of the best, like I said, if not the best rear brake I've ever had. My GTR, 158, 156 brake horsepower, absolute tank of a bike. Rear brake, shocking. This one, stamp that rear brake, and she stops, put the front and rear together, and it really does stop you very quickly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, CFMOTO have done very well on the brake setup of this bike. Now with the 450MT, I've actually got Rhino Walk soft panniers, thanks to my friend Dirt and Dust Rider, Daz. So as soon as I got to Australia, he said, do you want these panniers? Obviously I paid him for them. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. They're obviously soft panniers, so they suit the style of the motorcycle, which is what you want. Now I've opted to leave them on the bike the whole entire time that I've got them, because with soft panniers, as you probably all know, you end up tying them up to the bike, you end up finding your mounting points, and it becomes a right ball ache taking them off, putting them on. It's just a nightmare. So I don't tend to leave anything like over valuable in the bike. But what I do have on the offside pannier, which is that side pannier, is basically I've got wet weather gear, I've got a hat, I am in Australia, I've got a tyre compressor from Innov, my Innov P1 tyre compressor, thank you Innov for that one. Go check out my review on the Innov P1 tyre compressor if you haven't already. So that's there. I've also got a puncture repair kit on the bike, and I believe that is everything I carry in that pannier. Oh, I've also got my rock straps in that pannier, because ultimately you never know when you're going to want to take something on the bike that you do not have the ability to carry. But with the rock straps, you can definitely do that. All right, so we're coming into Serpentine Dam. 40, I mean, that's one thing, the Australian speed limits are bloody painful. They're just so slow. They are just so slow. Perth via Jarrahdale. And there is the Serpentine Dam. Now there's got to be some sort of cafe around here. Do you know the one thing that I absolutely love about the United Kingdom? Every year there is so much rain, constantly getting rained out in England. Yet they keep saying there's a water shortage. Don't put your hose pipes on. There's a water shortage. No. In Australia, well, I can only talk for Perth. Crack on. Crack on. What we got down here? Is that the runoff? Yeah, that's the water runoff there. Awesome. Oh, and this is what I love about the CFMOTO. Ready? Oh, up we go. Nice and easy. That was a good probably a foot's worth of curb there that I had to bump up. But she's done it absolutely fine. Let's have a quick walk around the bike and let me just show you what we're looking at. So, on the rear of the bike, I've got my little pouch tied up to my helmet. I need to adjust that. I need to put some sort of bolt in there and move it forward again. So that's my DOHC C6 rear camera. Also I've got a radar, which is my blind spot detection. I've retrofitted these parts myself. Tyres are good on road, awful off road. They do not inspire any confidence off road. So Rhino Walk Luggage, kept off the exhaust quite nicely by this tab and the exhaust. So kept off nicely by the tab there and the exhaust bracket mount shield. I'll leave the peg down. I mean, it just gives that a little bit of extra support for the pannier. What else we got? We've got the crash bars. I don't know if these came standard, but the previous owner had them. There's a little bit of scuffing on them, but ultimately that's what they're there for. I've replaced the radiator guard, and I've replaced, I've actually put in a downpipe guard. These came off of Temu. The rear part of this does actually touch that, but I think that's standard for all the CF motors with the high front fender. They all kind of do that. And actually, I know that might need, I might have to try and tighten that up because I can see thread on that. That's not good. Coming to the front of the bike, styling is really nice. I like the tower headlights on this bike. The 800MTX and the 800MT have got like the spread out lights, which do look fantastic. But I actually really do like those ones where they're in a little bit of a tower. Let's have a look down here. So yeah, that's going to be the runoff area. I wonder if you can actually ride down there. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? There's got to be a way to get down there. Long way down. This is obviously adjustable. Just with this, you can do it when you're riding, which is nice. Got bar busters. Again, this was put on by another owner. Coming round to the near side. Look at that chain. It's absolutely caked in sand. Another Rhino walk on the side here. But yeah, so far, I'm absolutely loving the CFMOTO 450MT. I generally can't... Is there anything I don't like about this bike? I'm really trying to think, but I can't. And bearing in mind, I have purchased this myself with my own money. If I hate it, I will tell you if I hate it. But realistically, I can't think of anything that I don't like about it. It works.